Hey, Matt. Hey, what's up? Long time no see. Hey, looks good. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to roll right into hearing from today's race winner and his crew chief, and that's Matt Kenseth. He drives the number 20 Dollar General Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's joined by his crew chief, Jason Ratcliff. This is Matt's 37th career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory. This is the third time he's won here at Dover. His first win in 2016, which secures him a berth in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Congratulations, Matt. And it's also the win today is the 135th NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory for Joe Gibbs Racing, which ties the organization with Roush Fenway for the third most wins in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series history. So congratulations to the number 20 team, to Joe Gibbs Racing. Coach, come on up and join us. What a race out there today, Matt.
I thought you guys were going to applaud for Coach or something when they said how many wins he has, third most all time.
That's right.
It was just silent.
They don't care.
Yeah. But, Matt, talk about this race today. I tell you, I think the fans certainly saw quite a show today.
I think all year they've seen some good finishes, that's for sure. So we got kind of an up and down day. A lot of it just depended on track position for us. I felt like we were at times we were pretty good. At other times we were kind of off. Like I said, a lot of it depended on track position. We had one run that was really, really good, and then never quite got it there again. So it was one of those days where everything lined up for us at the end of the race. We were the only one left out there with two, and we got those couple short runs to kind of cycle everybody else's tires and give us a lot of caution laps to get our tires cooled down. So it all worked out for us, kind of the opposite as I feel like it's been going the last couple of months. We've had really fast race cars, and we've been in position to win a lot. This wasn't our fastest car by any means this year, but we're able to do the right things and be there at the end of the race and be able to pull it off.
And Jason, just talk about this weekend, maybe some of the things that you had to do from Friday to today, and then just how the racetrack, I would think, had to change some with the different, sun in, sun out, and those types of things. And then there's so many things going on during the second half of this race that it was pretty incredible to keep up with it all. But
it was throughout the weekend. Not only about a 20-degree swing in temperature from practice yesterday to today, which I'm sure made a difference. Probably would have made a bigger difference had this not been a concrete racetrack. But most of the day, it seemed like the track was fairly consistent. We changed a lot of stuff yesterday in practice. I mean, we were in qualifying trim on Friday, so we didn't really know what we had until Saturday. Completely changed the setup in the second practice, and we felt like we had a good car all day. But as Matt mentioned, we kind of come and go at times. We were, a top 2, top 3 car in contention, and then when we would lose track position, not so much. But we saw that for a lot of teams. I felt like at the end, I'm surprised more guys didn't, do 2 tires at the end. But, it worked out for us. Earlier we had done 4 and lost our track position, so it was a good opportunity for us to get that back. And we felt like with clean air, the car had good speed. But it wouldn't have worked out if Matt, he drove the wheels off that thing at the end and really did a nice job, put on a good show for the fans. And Kyle drove a, great, nice, clean race, him and Chase. So it was a good race to watch, and obviously a good race to win.
And Coach Gibbs, certainly your organization has been on top of their game this year, and 135 Sprint Cup Series victory for your organization. That's incredible, and I know how hard you all work and just those types of things, and yet I know how hard it is to win in this sport. So just talk about Matt winning today, and then also just maybe if you would reflect back on just the success that your organization is having right now.
Well, certainly that's true. I got to tell you, I couldn't be prouder of Matt. I think that last 20 laps is about as good as anybody could drive a race car, and as Kyle and Chase also did a great job. I think battling. All three cars were up there really going after it, and I think probably touched a few times, but I think the fans probably really appreciated that too. Yeah, when you and Jason, just, these guys are a great team, and you got to have that great chemistry, and I think they have it. For our overall, I always think about everybody back home, JD and Coy here with me today, but family-wise, it's just a thrill for us to be a part of a big family at our race team. And it's everybody back there that does so much hard work, stays extra, they're slaving at night, trying to put stuff together and working so hard at this, because in this sport you're up against such many great race teams and competitors. And so it's a thrill to win these. We really don't take any of these ever for granted because they're so hard to get. And so I just want to thank everybody back there, and particularly Dollar General, and then DeWalt with Stanley, Black & Decker are a big part of this team, and I appreciate them. And, of course, as everybody always say, that you can't be in this sport or be at the top of this sport unless you got great partners and great sponsors.
We'll take questions now for this winning team. Holly Kane is first. We'll start with her. Then we'll go to Mike and then Bob. Raise your hand, Holly. Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Matt, if you could maybe just talk about those final laps. Kyle Larson mentioned what a clean racer you were and that he was very determined that he was going to race you with that respect. When you've got those two young guys behind you that haven't won a race before, are you thinking, this could be a crazy scenario, or does it make you feel more confident because you have won races and championship before?
I wasn't very confident that I was going to be able to hold them off, to be honest with you. We took off, and I felt pretty good about it. The first restart with Jimmy, I got through the gears real good. Then the second one, I got down there through 1 and 2, and it was pretty tight off turn 2. And I was like, we're still going to be tight for a short run. And then the tires cycled again. We took off in that last restart, and I actually spun the tires off of turn 2 the first lap, and then spun them off 4 the second lap, and it just progressively kept getting looser. And he was all over me, and I could never really make the middle and the top work today. Luckily, Chase caught him, got side by side, and that drug him back a couple seconds and gave me a little bit of breathing room. And then, really watching Carl earlier in the race, I saw some things he was doing to find some grip, and he was definitely freer than me and turning better. So I started trying to find that grip in the middle of the track, and that worked for us to be able to hold him off. I think if he would have snuck outside of me, it was over because we were just so free. So he raced me really, really hard, but really, really clean at the same time. He's a great race car driver. To me, it doesn't even seem right that he hasn't won yet. He's got a bunch of victories in front of him for sure. He's a really, really clean, hard racer and a fast learner.
Let's go to Mike Embry. Go ahead, Mike, in the back.
Mike Embry, USA Today. Matt, where were you when the big wreck happened? Were you involved in that at all?
I was Jimmy was leading, and I was alongside of him when that one happened, if that's what you're talking about. So we were going through the gears, and I just saw in the corner of my eye Jimmy's car get out of shape, and something happened to it. So I didn't really see any more than that. I got to turn 1, and they said the caution was out. I looked in my mirror and didn't. I was in the middle of 1 and 2 and didn't see anybody behind me, so I knew it must have been a big one.
Other questions? Raise your hand, please. Bob Pockris, and then we'll come to the front.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Does this relieve the sting of some of the other races this year, especially the Daytona 500?
Well, thanks for bringing up the Daytona 500, Bob. I appreciate that. Nothing like that. Anyway, yes and no. I mean, I feel like the way we've been running, eventually the law averages are going to work out, and you're going to get your wins, and you're going to get your finish. It's going to happen sooner or later. I will say that as good as we have ran, that's probably the longest streak that I can remember being on without having any, real good finishes. And we finished 4th last week. That was our first top 5 of the season. As good as we've ran all year, like I said, it's probably the longest streak I've had with having cars that fast and not being able to get better finishes and maybe even a win or two. But I have all the confidence in the world in these guys, and obviously the organization's strong. Everybody else has won races, and I don't think there's a better crew chief in the garage than the one sitting next to me. So I felt like it was a matter of time, but you can never take it for granted. You still got to go out and do the work every week, and you got to make it happen.
Bob, you have another one?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It appeared that you wanted to do your burnout right in front of your pit stall. Kind of, was that on purpose, or did you see your guys and?
Yeah, I just saw 2 of them jumping up on the fence, and the wind was going the wrong way. I was kind of hoping we could get the wind. I saw your coach had everybody huddled up, and they were all right there. So I figured I'd nose it in so I could stare at them. I was hoping I'd make some more smoke their direction. The wind was blowing the wrong way, but yeah, I just wanted to get close to those guys, but not too close.
Let's go to the front row, and they'll go to Jim Utter. Go ahead.
Matt Kenseth, WBOC in Salisbury. Can you just talk about what this win means for you going for the rest of the year now that you have that one win and you have the guaranteed spot in the chase?
I think a lot of people it maybe changes a little bit. For me, I really don't feel like it does or it should. I feel like we prepare the same way. I always feel like these are huge races. It's quite an honor to be able to race against these guys every week in a Sprint Cup race. They're the biggest stock car races in the world every weekend, and get to race in them. So you want to be your best every single race. You want to go out and try to race for wins. Whenever you can, and you can't get a win, you want to finish as high as you can. So for me, my approach and strategy doesn't really change. I mean, you want to be as strong as you can be all year, and hopefully we can climb back up the points a ways. And we want to be a contender every week.
Go to Jim. Go ahead.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. For Matt and Jason, if you'd like to comment. Matt, you made your first career Cup start here. You've seen a lot of races. There's been a lot of talk after this race that it may have been one of the best ever at Dover. I know there were a lot of strange circumstances that took place in the race, but I wondered if what you thought contributed, particularly with the hard racing at the end where you had 3 guys basically in contention for the win.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was one of the greatest ever because I won. If we would have lost, I would say I thought the racing stunk. But seriously, yeah, I mean, it was a close race. I've been involved in a couple close ones here. Unfortunately, 2 other close ones, I was able to win one of them and beat Jamie right toward the end, who was my teammate at the time. With just a few laps to go, and another one, Jeff Burton caught me, and we ran side by side, I think, for 15 laps, and we ran out of gas with like 2 laps to go, which wasn't good. So there's been some good racing here and some close finishes, but yeah, I mean, typically, I know what you're saying. Typically, when you get a short run here, the leader is able to get away, but I thought at the time, those guys had a little better tires on than us, and we're a little bit faster. So whenever you put the faster cars behind the one who's not quite as fast, you're always going to have a good race.
Any additional questions? Bob?
Bob Huckers, ESPN. This is for Jason and Joe. Can you guys just talk about, what it's been like for this team this year to be so close and not have really even had a good finish except for the one last week?
Well, it's a character builder, that's for sure. It'll test your patience, but at the same time, each week what's good. I've said this a lot of times. The group of guys, the core group that's on the 20 team, most of them, if not all of them, have been in this sport for a long time, and they understand and they thrive on how well we perform each week, not necessarily where we finish, but eventually, that wears on you. So. Last week to get a top 5 and then to come in this week and get a victory, it's definitely what we've been waiting for. But I couldn't ask for a better group of guys. They, most of the time, I think it's my responsibility to keep them motivated, but more times than not, they keep me motivated. But great group, hard workers, and they'll take this one and be chomping at the bit to get another one next week.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is just, this sport is so hard. And you got 4 teams out there, and, you walk out of the racetrack, and to have what happened to Matt at Daytona and to see the way he handled that, he and Jason, I think that says a lot about him because you could easily be upset about that. But Matt's had a great attitude through everything, and I think he's does appreciate good cars and having a great crew chief, and so I think that's what we're trying to do. And the hardest thing in this pro sports is to stay up, because it's so easy to slide back down. It certainly has happened to us, and you go against such good people each week. It's just it's very hard to do. And for Matt to hang in there, he and Jason and the whole team, the 20 team, finally get a win is just a huge deal for us. I was really happy for him.
Well, Matt, Jason, Coach Gibbs, Joe Gibbs Racing, congratulations on this big win here today at Dover, and continued best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Kerry. You did a great job moderating today.
Thank you. Always enjoy having you in here, Matt.
That's because it doesn't happen very often.
Matt, you're going to stay there and do your Q&A.
Yeah, you're doing a little Twitter chat right now, Matt.
Jason, you can come and do your NASCAR production
Coach Gibbs.
deal.
The best thing to do probably are
start off with another selfie.
video
Don't
social.
have enough of those?
Social.